Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name is Candice. If you've been here for a while, welcome back for another video. It's a little cold around here, so we're just gonna snuggle with a blanket and a kitty and have a nice little cozy chat today. Today we're talking about the key to inner peace. Now, we know, right, the world has problems, lots of them, and all of those problems affect us in some way, shape, or form at some point in our lives, right? Can you put your butt down, please? Thank you. We end up carrying around things like stress, worry about things, doubt, anger, fear. We might be dealing with depression or uncertainty about our future, relationship issues, worrying about other people, right? Addictions, financial stresses, insecurities, like all of the problems of the world, right? At some point or another, we get affected by at least one of them, right? And the thing is, these problems, they might seem kind of small at first, right? Like this little rock. But once you have about 30, 40, 50 of these things, maybe some of them are the size of boulders, right? And you're carrying them around all day long, it gets heavy, right? And we get worn out and stressed out, and we get to the point where we feel like, you kind of want to give up sometimes. And so that's when we start looking for solutions to make us feel peaceful again, right? And the world will sell you a lot of solutions. Like anything that you can think of, the world has probably come up with and tried to sell at some point. Like, oh, you're stressed. Take a vacation for a week and, pay us all this money. And then when you get back, those same problems that you left with are still going to be there, but you'll feel better about it. Or, oh, feeling down and depressed. Here, eat a cookie, right? Feeling bad about your skin. Are you looking tired? Try this new cream or this new wrinkle roller or X, Y, and Z, right? If you're feeling anxious about things, do some self-care, like a bubble bath or this or that. Self-help books and advice, affirmations, meditation apps. We turn to addictions to feel better. Like, oh, you're feeling sad about this or that, turn to food or turn to television or to novels or to games or drugs or whatever else to make you feel good because it makes you feel better, right? And so then you feel the peace. The problem is, all of these worldly solutions don't actually work, right? They're like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, right? They don't actually solve the problem. You might feel better for a minute or two, right? But all of those problems, the root causes of all of those problems are still there, right? So say you go on vacation, you have all these issues, right? You go on vacation, so you put these down, you go on vacation, inevitably you have to come back. And when you come back, these are a part of the deal. They don't just magically go away on their own, right? It's the same with all of the other solutions. They don't actually solve anything. So they're not really solutions. They're just temporary things that make you feel a little bit better, but ultimately don't make you feel better in the long run, right? Say you're stressed about relationship issues, and so you decide to go on vacation, right? But then you come back from vacation and now you have relationship issues. Oh, and you added a new problem called financial issues from going on vacation, or the going on vacation led to more relationship issues. You know what I mean? Like, it just tends to spiral, and all of these solutions that the world gives us don't work. They don't fix the problem. They're a Band-Aid, but not actually something that's going to heal you from the issues itself. Now, this temporary relief that they provide feels good in the moment. It totally does. I mean, you eat the cookie when you're feeling stressed, it tastes good, right? But the problem is then, of course, that when you reach for like 30 or 40 cookies, and now you have the extra problem of added weight on your hips, or, acne that wasn't there before because you just ate too much sugar, or a stomach ache, then we're adding more problems to the world, to the problems of the world that are already there, right? So what do? There is such a thing as legit inner peace, okay? But there's only one way to get to it. And that one way, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not just somebody giving you a magic pill and here it fixes everything. This one way to this inner peace can be a difficult road to walk, right? It can strain you and stretch you in different ways that you never thought possible. But ultimately, at the end of the road, there's inner peace there. So let's talk about it. That inner peace, of course, hi baby, can only be found through a relationship with God. And not just any God, but, the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Jesus Christ, like God, right? Okay? Now here's the thing. In the Bible, all of these stresses of the world, right, they're all caused by the fact that sin is in the world, right? There is evil in the world, and that causes all of these issues, right? Hey, stop it. Sit down. If you're going to sit down. But the thing is, all of these things that came into the world were never really meant to be here, right? Like, the world was supposed to be kind of an extension of heaven in a way, right? But then we have free will as human beings, we chose to rebel and allow sin into the world. So sin comes along with everything. Fear, anxieties, depression, worries, anger issues, all of the things that you would think of as negative things are associated with this, right? Now, God, of course, loves us, and he loves us so much that he was like, I'm not just going to leave the world this way and leave it a hot mess, right? I am going to make a way for my people to get out, to have a better life. And that way is he sent Jesus, right, to pay the price for all of our sins. Because here's the thing, when we sin, when we do evil things, when we go against God, there is punishments waiting for us for that, right? And the ultimate punishment is ending up being separated from God forever and going to hell, which would suck, right? So God sent Jesus into the world to literally pay the price for all of our sins, right? So every wrong thing we've ever done, he came into the world and took all of the punishment that was meant for us onto himself, so we wouldn't have to, reap what we sow in that effect if, we choose to follow him. Anywho, so he took all of that on himself, and he gave us a way to have eternal life with God, right? By believing in him, asking for forgiveness of our sins, all of that stuff. Now here's where people get a little lost, right? Is a lot of people assume that the moment you accept God into your life and the moment you accept Jesus, that your life should automatically now be perfect, right? That you should go from having a bunch of problems to poof, now I don't have any problems. And it usually is not that instantaneous. It sometimes takes a bit of work, and I'll explain. So, in the Bible, in John, chapters 14 and 15, you can go read it yourself if you want. It's there always for you to look at. You could look it up on your phone. Jesus talks about giving us peace and leaving his peace with us, right? The world has a lot of troubles, but he's overcome the world, so he gives us freely his peace. And his peace is amazing. It's so much better than anything the world could offer. It's like vacations times a whole bunch, but you come back and everything's perfect and nothing's wrong anymore when you get back, sort of a deal. It's not the way the world offers peace. His peace is totally different and 1,000 times more amazing, right? But in order for us to willingly receive it, right, all of these problems and stresses and worries and things, addictions, whatever else might be going on in your pile of stuff, right, we have to be willing to give these things up and give them to him. And that can be the tricky part, okay? Because you might, think, well, it's natural to worry about my kids. I've been worrying about my kids since they were little, but that worry and like trying to control the situation and carrying that on your shoulders is just not good for you, right? You're not going to have peace so long as you're worrying, right? But in order for us to get his peace, we have to receive it from him, which means we have to give him what's bothering us and be like, okay, here, God, you can have this, and I'm taking my hands off of it and not going to worry about it anymore, and you give me some peace, right? Now, this, of course, is easier said than done most of the time, right? Because it's in our nature to want to stress about things, to want to like ruminate on things and keep holding on to things like worry and anger and doubt and uncertainties and just all of these things, right? We tend to feel almost a sense of control when we hold on to them, but it's really not control. It's just like a fear of letting them go. So when we take this worry, right, and we say, okay, God, I'm gonna tell you all about this, right? I'm gonna tell you everything that I'm worrying about. I am going to pray about it and ask you to make it all better. And then I'm going to take this worry that I've been holding and hoarding and keeping and festering in my own spirit, and I'm going to give it to you, right? So you give it and you set it down and you back off of it and you let it go and you stop thinking about it. Now here's the thing. Because we have free will, right? God will take that from us and he'll give us peace. But at any point in time, we have the free will where we can go and go, oh, I kind of want this back. We can start worrying about it again. We have that choice. That's where the difficulty comes in, right? Is being able to let it go. And then anytime you think about trying to go back to that, being like, nope, I've given it to you, God. I'm not touching it. It's not like I don't want it anymore. I'm giving it to you, and I am trusting that you're going to take care of it, and I am keeping your peace, right? That's where it can get a bit of a struggle, because it's hard for us to do that. It's hard for us to let go sometimes. And sometimes some issues are really easy to let go of and to trust God with, and some other issues are a lot more difficult and can take a lot more time to do so. In John chapter 15, it talks about how, God is the vine and we're the branches, right? So we have to be intimately connected with him in order to live, because if the branches are not connected to the vine, they don't get nutrients, they don't get water, and they just wither away and die, right? It's the same thing with us. If we're not connected to God, we don't get all of the nutrients and the peace and the love and the things that we need to survive, right? But it also goes on to state that not only are we connected to the vine, right, but then that God will go around to each one of us branches and prune things off and take away dead things and remove things in order for us to produce more fruit and to be more fruitful, in order for us to be successful in life, in order for us to be closer to him and have a better relationship with him, right? We got to let go of a lot of these problems and a lot of these things. Like, when I was younger, I had anger issues, right? And in order for me to get to the point of having his peace in this particular area, right? Like, I had to take that anger and be like, okay, God, I am angry. And here's all the things I'm angry about. And I'm going to pray about all these things, and then I'm going to stick it in your hands, and I'm gonna let it go, right? Now, of course, because this was a long-standing issue for me, this was not a one and done, right? I kept reaching back for that anger and kept being like, well, so-and-so did something, and now I kind of want to pick this back up. Or this person made me angry, or this situation is unfair, or whatever. And so I kept picking this thing back up instead of just keeping his peace. And it was a struggle for a long time, right? But as I continued, I dropped anger on the ground. Sorry, y'all. But as I continued to go through this with God over and over again, right, he would put me in situations that could trigger my anger, right? And he did this strategically, of course, to be like, okay, is she gonna pick it back up? Or is she gonna immediately turn her mind to me and ask me for help and let it go and take my peace? Because that's the thing. We have the choice to either pick one of these problems back up, or we have the choice to immediately turn to him, be like, okay, God, I don't understand what's going on. This is an issue. I'm getting irritated about this. I'm stressed about this. I'm worried about this. I'm uncertain about this. I need you to help me. I'm going to pray about it, and then I'm going to let it go, right? And trust you. Those are our options. Either pick up the problem or pick up the solution, right? And when we finally start training ourselves to, instead of reaching back for it, to immediately go to God and ask him for help, and then be like, okay, God, I don't understand this. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know where you have me in the next so many months. Financially, this isn't making sense, la-di-da-di-da, but I am going to let it go, and I am going to take your peace, and I am going to trust that you have this, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to trust that you have this, and I'm not going to be angry about it. I'm going to trust that you have this, and I'm not going to continually bring it up in my spouse's face or XYZ. You know what I mean? As we train ourselves to do that, and this can take a while, guys. It can take a while. It's not a magic pill. It's not a thing where you can just order it on Amazon and boom, you have it. Oh, all your problems are gone away. You know, this can take a while, this pruning process of getting you to the point where you don't have so many issues, right? It can take a while. And for me, that whole anger issue thing took like 10 years, okay? But every time I chose to trust him and take his peace instead of picking that anger back up, it got me closer to not having that problem at all. And then each time I finally got to the point where I'm like, you know, I don't want to pick that up anymore. Because I know that if I leave this over here and I just talk to God and I trust him, that he'll take care of whatever the situation is and it'll work out for my good, and I won't need this. There's no point in this, right? All this does is weigh me down and stress me out. So I finally got to the point where I stopped picking it up, guys. And one day, I was sitting there and had like this little revelation, like, oh, it's been a long time since I've been really angry. It's been a long time since I've had, you know, like any sort of outburst or let it stress and build up into a point of explosion. Like, it's been a long time, right? And then I got to the point where I'm like, oh, it's been ages, years and years and years. And I got to the point where I was like, oh, you know, I don't think I have this problem anymore. It's gone. And I'm at peace about it. Like, it takes time, okay? And I think that's the thing that isn't advertised as well as it should be when it comes to having a relationship with God, is he works on you over time, right? He willingly offers you that peace, that beautiful, amazing peace where you can be like in financial straits and you just have this peace. You're like, okay, I know things aren't looking great, but God's got this. I trust him. He's taking care of me. He's taken care of me before. He's taking care of me again. I got this. You know, he's got this. I don't need to worry about it. And it's just like this peace that doesn't make any sense to anybody around you, right? It's this peace that's so beautiful. Like, it's totally worth setting all of these down. Speaking from experience, of course, you know. But as we go through it and we set our issues down and we trust him with the outcome of whatever it is, you know, this could be relationship issues. Okay, you've got a problem with a spouse or someone you're dating or, you know, a family member, and it's just something that keeps getting brought up over and over again. So you take it, you talk to God about it, right? You pray about it. And I will say, as you pray about these issues, God will change you and change the other person involved. Like, it's just really cool the way God works. But you take it, you set it down, you pray about it, you let it go, right? The next time you see that person might say something to try and make you angry or upset, and instead of going back and picking that thing back up, right, or picking up your anger issue to go along with it. You go, nope, 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 God's got this. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to forgive that person. I'm going to pray for them, and I'm going to let it go. Right? And that's when God goes to work. Like, that's when God really goes to work, and he gives you that peace freely. Like, okay, here, you give me your problems, I'll give you some peace. That's what he offers us, and it's incredibly generous. He's like, give me your problems, talk to me about them, tell me all about it, let's go, pray about it, give it to me, I'll give you some peace, and then I'll go to work. That's how he rolls. And as you set these things down, right, it could be anger, worry, doubt, relation issues, uncertainty, depression, insecurities about yourself, your relationship with other people, your relationship with God. Could be financial stress, worries about your family, your addictions, or, whatever else you got going on. Any stresses of normal life, work stress, stresses about your family, stresses about your job, stresses about whatever. As you let them all go. And this might take a while, right? Like I said, it can take a while. But as you work through it and you get used to setting them down and not picking them back up, that's when you can feel the peace. That's when you can sit in the peace. And as you start getting a taste of that peace, and you start realizing, oh, as I trust God, he gives me this peace, and then he takes care of my problems, right? And as you develop that relationship with him and go further and further to where you're trusting him more and more, it gets so much easier to let these things go. It gets so easy, because once you feel that peace and you experience that peace, you're like, I want more of that. I don't want this. I don't want any of these. I don't want that peace. And so you're willing to let these things go, right? And that is the key to inner peace, is trusting God, giving him your problems, praying about them, but then letting it go. Which can be easier said than done sometimes. But like I said, as you get into that process and you get better at it and you do it more and more often, right, you really start feeling his peace. And that's the most beautiful thing there is, really, is that peace. That peace is amazing. I mean, you could be having the worst year of your life and still be totally at peace. And it's totally a God thing, because obviously us in and of ourselves are not going to be feeling that peace when we're under normal stressful situations, right? But that's our little chit chat for today. I hope this helped you in some way. And if it did, throw a line down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. See you guys next time. Bye.